Cheers.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Joe, and welcome back to Ambitious Films and where we review them. This week is the final episode, I'm afraid, of the first season.
Yes.
If you want to see it like that.
This time we're reviewing
My favourite film, The Social Network, and what a film it is.
Indeed. I did not watch said film until Joe heavily recommended it to me. And I watched it and I agree with him. It's a fantastic film. It's not my favourite film personally, but
What is your favourite film?
aside from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, it'd have to be 2001. Is it based...
What?
Is it based
Go on.
on a book?
Is it based on a book? Yes, it is.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
I was thinking that's such a stupid question because it's
Sort
a true
of.
story.
So I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, there is a book which is about the same sort of thing. The big question that always comes up about The Social Network is how on earth did they manage to make a film about Facebook? Which is quite a valid point, but it's not actually about Facebook, I would say.
No, it seems to me more about friends and the effect that business and money has on people, and also types of people you get. Like Mark is a very specific type of person.
Eduardo is as well,
also,
and so is Sean, who turns up later on.
Exactly, some quite strong characters in some way.
It's not really a film about Facebook, it's a film about people.
Yes.
So, if you've not seen The Social Network, first of all, what are you doing? Most of you who watch this know me. I've probably told you at least once to go watch this.
Why would you watch a review of a film that you've not seen?
Yeah, I'm afraid I don't think it's on any streaming sites, so just get yourself a copy. But if you want to stream it illegally, I'll never forgive you because it's my favourite film.
I mean, how do you think I watched it?
Jamie, no! Now that you're back, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm sure you did. It's a fantastic film.
It's a fantastic film.
Let's talk about it. So that opening scene in the pub.
Yes, the conversation he's having with his then girlfriend.
So it opens and they're sat in a busy pub and they're talking sort of generally about university life.
Yeah.
And
he's obviously very ambitious.
Yes, and he's dominating the conversation very much so.
He's going too fast for her.
Yeah, she can't keep up.
Jumping between conversations within a conversation.
It's very similar to real life, the way that they get confused and they misconstrue the meaning. Because Mark, he views himself as like so intelligent, so he's jumping from one topic to another, going so quickly, and she gets left behind by him. And he likes that, I think. He likes the fact that he's like in control and he's like showing off. Yeah. And it sort of establishes the whole problem with Mark and the way that it's going to sort of fuck up his life throughout the film.
What you touched on before, which I quite like, is the fact that it's like normal conversation. Yeah. Because a lot of dialogue in films is very perfect, it's very witty, it's people are bouncing off each other, and sometimes it's like in real life, but a lot of the time, like you say, people get confused. Yeah. People lose their way in conversations and will get confused. Yeah.
The important thing, I think, is the characters have different ways in which they talk. So Mark is very much in that way. And then you meet a character later on, Sean, who is very much for sort of the witty, bouncing off everything. But he's a very different character, and so he talks in a very different style.
Yes.
And you can instantly see that, and it's like so well written. Yeah, so the first scene, Mark is talking about how he wants to get into a finals club. And he's talking about how that shows that you've made it, you're someone.
That's it. It's him proving himself in many ways, isn't it? He's quite ambitious. He knows how good he is. He wants other people to know it. Yeah,
exactly. He wants appreciation.
That's it.
But the issue is, as is quickly establishes, he can't empathise, and so he wants the appreciation from other people, but he doesn't deserve it because he's a dick to them.
Yeah.
And Erica says at the end of that scene, says she's breaking up with him. She can't do it because
because you're an asshole.
And she says, I want you to know you're going to go through your whole life and girls are going to hate you.
You'll think it's because
you're too clever for them. I want you to know it's because you're an asshole.
I like that bit. It really grounds him, doesn't it?
Yeah. And that's sort of what drives him throughout the film, that he wants to prove her wrong almost and be better than that. Yeah. And he can't. It's quite tragic, really.
It is.
You really feel for him.
I think he starts to see, doesn't he, that the whole thing with Eduardo at the end really brings it home to him.
After he's gone to the pub, he's simultaneously blogging and making a website where you compare girls. And it's so clever because it's used for several different things. they show how good at coding and stuff he is, because he hacks into all the Facebooks and steals the girls' faces, puts them into the thing, and he's doing all this. He's getting drunk at the same time, and he's blogging.
Yes.
And he's blogging about Erica and bitching about her because he's bitter about it, because he does like her. And he's just awful at showing that. And then Eduardo comes and it establishes their friendship, and Eduardo has this line of code or an algorithm or whatever, which is what it needs for the website to go up. And he eventually gets found out for it. But the important thing about the scene, so he gets taken to like a courtroom type thing for having done this. It's like university court or whatever. And they're like, oh, you shouldn't have done this. And he's like, yeah, you should be thanking me because I've pointed out all the flaws in your security systems. If you knew what you were looking for, it was written on my window. That's what you needed to find. But you clearly didn't know what you were doing. And he just turns up in like shorts and flip-flops. And
yeah,
I think they're all wearing suits, and it just shows he doesn't take it seriously. He doesn't play by their rules. He's on his own level. He sees himself as above it again.
Okay.
So he meets Erica again slightly later on, and it's just after he has made Facebook, and him and Eduardo are going out with these two girls, and he sees Erica at this restaurant they've gone to, and he goes over to try to talk to her, and he's like,
look, I've made Facebook.
And she just doesn't care. She disregards it, and it knocks him down again and pushes him.
It's just improving himself to her.
Yeah.
As an audience member, I can kind of resonate with that. The feeling of wanting to prove someone wrong.
But he's just trying to earn her affection, her friendship even. He wants her to like him. And it pains him so much that she doesn't, when everyone else at this point is sort of liking him because he's made Facebook. He sort of earns what he wants, but at the same time, Erica still doesn't appreciate him. And so... And then, obviously, at the end of the film, he goes onto Facebook, finds Erica, and sends her a friend request.
Yes.
And that is the end of the film, and it still shows that even though he's built this huge company, he still wants her to like...
It shows you can have however many friends on Facebook, or
however
much success.
There's the tagline.
That's the tagline, is it? Something similar,
it's
isn't
like,
it? You can't have 100 friends without making a few enemies.
Yeah.
And it's the way that, like you say, he's had all this success, he's had Facebook, he's earning God knows how much, but he still cares about that one person and proving him. He's proved himself to everyone but her.
Yeah.
And that one person still matters to him.
So Eduardo.
It's a much more, I think, accessible character.
It's his journey that you're following emotionally.
Yeah, he's the everyman really, isn't he? He's the he seems like quite a regular guy. Not as ambitious in this, not in the same way as Mark. Seems to value friendship more.
He does. Eduardo is constantly trying to be a good friend to Mark. He's always being there, he's being supportive.
That's his
Mark
prime objective, really, isn't it? And I think he's happy about the success that they gain with Facebook, but he's more kind of, Mark, isn't this great what we're achieving and what we're managing to do,
rather than... What we're managing to do is the important thing.
Yeah, exactly.
He sees it as we, Mark sees it sort of as him.
It's an ego trip for Mark, isn't it? And it's not for Eduardo, and that's where the tensions start to come in.
Eduardo is the one who puts the money up to start Facebook.
Mark is the brains behind it, but he needs Eduardo.
He needs Eduardo, and he sort of forgets that along the way. And so there's this underlying plot line that Eduardo gets invited to join the Phoenix Club.
Yeah. Which
is what Mark wants to be doing. And it's sort of constantly hints throughout the film that Mark's very jealous about this. So Eduardo, he goes through all these challenges to join the Phoenix Club and everything, and then it gets to a scene, for his final test to join the Phoenix Club, has to carry a live chicken round with him for a week. And they eat in canteen halls, and they have to eat what they're given. So he had to feed the chicken whatever he'd been given for dinner. And one night they give them chicken, so Eduardo has to feed the chicken bits of chicken. And then a school newspaper finds out, and there's a lot of controversy. And Mark is suggested to having planted the story to get back at Eduardo because he's jealous. But did he? That's the thing.
Because you could see why he would, because obviously he wanted to get into finals clubs and everything.
Oh, the other thing is, they're constantly flicking between the court case and the events that are unfolding as Facebook's being made. So the court case is at the end, and Eduardo is suing Mark, and also are the... Oh, what are they called? So the Winklevoss twins, they're also suing him. So yeah, In the court case, when they get to the bit about the chicken, I think it's Mark's lawyer said, Mark actually defended you about the chicken thing. And then he just kind of looks at Eduardo, shrugs and goes, oops. And he's just like, did he? Did he? I don't think he did. I don't think Mark did it.
I think there's reason... Well...
There's reason to believe that he would.
I think he would have felt bitter, but I don't think he would have gone that far.
I think Eduardo, more than anything, is just trying to find a reason for it. He wants to believe that Mark at least had a cause to betray him.
Once he'd set up Mark as the antagonist in his head, he wanted more kind of confirmation bias.
Exactly, so he doesn't want to believe that Mark just did it because that's who Mark is. He wants to believe that Mark would have been slightly justified in what he was doing, but it's just who Mark is. And he doesn't want to believe that, but it's what it was.
It was.
They are the ones who give Mark the initial idea for a Facebook type thing.
Yeah.
They have the idea for something similar. Come to him, say, could you do the coding for us? And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. And then doesn't quite steal the idea. He says, because his defense is, do you see any of your coding in Facebook?
If this had been your idea fully, you would have invented Facebook.
Exactly, yeah. Mark sort of strings them along.
He does.
And it's... You don't like them, but at the same time, you can sort of feel sorry for them.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't really know why they're there.
I think they're just another angle on the same point that the means by which Mark got to the top was not a clean method by any means.
Yeah, definitely.
Not only did Eduardo kind of fall as a casualty in order for Facebook to get to the top, those twins did, you know. I think they were just another device with which to prove that point.
Also the fact that they, because it's based on a true story, that did actually happen. So, got to kind of include that. Another thing I want to mention, there's not direct narration, but there is narration of sorts through the courtrooms, and it allows them to give their opinion sort of
in hindsight.
And I feel like it's
quite powerful.
That's so good. Yeah,
I like the contrast you'll have. You know, you'll see them maybe really happy, and then you'll hear one of them talking bitterly about it.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, you know, you've seen something really happy, but obviously things turn sour later on.
It gives you the two perspectives. You know what's going to happen. You know that things are going to get messed up, so you're looking all the way along for the issues.
Yes.
And it's not what's going to happen, how is it going to happen?
Yes.
Which I think is good. Let's talk about Sean, because I love Sean. Sean's character is fantastic.
You feel for Eduardo in the interactions he has with him.
Because Sean is he's such a charismatic person, but he's also the worst person.
He's a bit like Mark in his ambition, isn't he? He's very he's got his eyes on the prize like Mark has really, but he's got that charisma with it. He's quite charming, but could also be seen as a dick.
Yeah,
by certain people.
You're either impressed by him or you see through the facade and see he's just a leech.
Yeah.
He's someone who's trying to profit for himself off of something he had nothing to do with. And Sean is sort of... Obviously, there's the issues between Mark and Eduardo before, with the whole chicken thing, and all the sort of tensions there, but it's really when Sean comes in and starts to pry Mark away from Eduardo that the problems really come in thick and fast. So Eduardo he goes to New York to try and find investors to invest in Facebook.
Yeah.
But Mark moves to, is it LA?
I think so, I don't really remember.
Yeah, somewhere, and Sean lives across the street. So those two start colluding, like,
they get quite close, almost like Mark and Eduardo were earlier on.
But instead of Eduardo being a positive influence, you've got Sean who's a negative influence.
Yes.
And he's sort of making things worse. And he's going, look, it's a great time, but you've got to, like, show off and be more like me. Be more arrogant, almost.
That's it. He's kind of leading Mark astray in some ways. He's almost appealing to the selfish nature of Mark, isn't he? Because Mark was always a little bit like that, but he's saying kind of, you know, grab onto that, that's how you become successful.
And I feel like the best scene to show that is the one where Sean makes Mark go to the place that... So Sean founded Napster, which was like an app or something, and these people like weren't very good to him, to Sean, and so he uses Mark to get his own back. He's like, yo, Mark, go in here, go in your dressing gown and your slippers, turn up late, and then we'll listen to what they have to say, and then just say, Sean Parker says, fuck you, and then walk out again, whatever. And it shows how Sean is just getting his claws in and ruining any good bits of Mark that there were.
It's for his own game, really. Yeah. He's very manipulative.
And so the manipulation really comes to a head when there's the bit with Eduardo. And he goes back into the office. He's been invited to the Facebook head offices, which have been newly established, to celebrate the fact that they're going to get 1 million people on Facebook.
Yeah.
And he goes for a business meeting to sign some papers and stuff first, and then he's going to go to this party. But he turns up to the business meeting, and his shares have been diluted down to 0.3%. No one else's has been altered, and he goes over to Mark, and Sean gets in the way. Not, like, physically, but, like...
He's plugged in.
Yeah, and you can see on Sean's face that he definitely had something to do with it.
Yeah, it's Justin Timberlake, isn't it? Yeah, he does quite a good job. Played him really quite well, that kind of smug, quite hateable character, because he's doing the kind of whole call security, you know, you're not part of Facebook anymore thing, like, you don't belong. He's really pushing for Eduardo to not be involved.
Yeah. And then, so Eduardo smashes Mark's computer, which is so powerful.
The way that he can't quite believe it as he's walking over. He always sounds a bit breathless when he's shouting Mark.
Yeah.
And then it all just comes out where he's like, oh, he's plugged in.
Yeah.
Takes it all out, it goes off, and he obviously just doesn't care anymore. He's so enraged by Mark.
Yeah. Oh, it's horrible to watch it because they've been such good friends and you really feel so sorry for Eduardo because it wasn't his idea and yet he's poured so much time and energy and money into it and Mark has just betrayed him and it hurts so much.
You really feel for
and Eduardo looks like he could cry. Like,
in the courtroom in the
in that
office.
bit, and he's like, you know, he's so angry, and he's just like, lawyer up, bitch, because I'm not coming back for my whatever percent.
I'm coming back
for everything, and he just walks off. Mark just looks broken at that point because he's kind of like, I think the fact that they're going to hit 1 million adds to the tension because it's sort of like it's heightened emotions as it is.
Yeah, it's meant to be a happy time.
And yet it's just it gets flipped, and because they were already in a high, the low is so much lower.
Exactly.
And yeah, it just, you can see it hurts Mark a lot to have lost him because what he did to Eduardo was sort of faceless until then.
It was.
Eduardo hadn't been around.
He hadn't looked him in the eye as he did it. I think that was what made it easier for Mark.
So Sean goes off and goes to the after party to celebrate. Mark stays back alone. Sean gets caught for doing drugs with underage girls and rings up Mark. And as Mark hangs up the phone, you can just see that it's all broken inside of him because he's lost Eduardo, and the person who was sort of replacing him, Sean, he realises really is awful. Like, he lost everything, and for what? For something to be successful. Like, what was the point of it if it didn't make him happy?
Yeah, exactly.
It's sort of that debate, like, what's the point in working so hard if at the end of the day you're not actually happy from what you've produced? And it's again, going back to the Erica thing, sort of that searching for affection and appreciation. And everyone's there, like, congratulations, Mark, you've done it, you've proved everyone wrong, you've created this great thing. But he doesn't feel like that anymore.
No, that's the thing. He feels like he's lost, which is the point, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I can never quite fully express why the film is so... It's my favourite.
You really like it, don't you?
I do.
I can tell just from what you've been saying, like...
I can't quite express why it's my favourite, but I feel like that's part of it. The fact that I can't look at it and go, okay, this is why it's my favourite.
That about a film.
There's just everything, and I can watch it so many times, and every time I just feel from it, like, everything together. The music as well. The music is hollowing at places. Like, there's just, like, I don't know if it's violins or what, but you can hear this just, like, like, building the tension. It's horrible and fantastic, and it's just, everything comes together.
Very well made film.
Absolutely incredible. If you haven't watched it, why did you watch this? 2, go watch it now.
I do recommend it. It's not my favourite film, but it is a fantastic film, worth watching.
How many
percentage? What
percentage of shares?
What shares would you give it?
What percentage of shares?
How much would you dilute it?
I'm gonna have to give it 100. I'm gonna dilute my shares to 100% for this film or whatever. I don't know. This doesn't quite work, does it?
I'm gonna go for an 84%.
84%. I can accept that.
We are
selling
free range.
We are selling live free-range chickens in memory of Eduardo Saverin, who fed chicken to his chicken. We would advise that you don't feed chicken to your chicken should you purchase one. If you do, we will not be liable. There we go.
That's it.
We're done.
It's been a pleasure, guys.
Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. It's been something different, for sure.
It's been worth doing. I've enjoyed it.
Quite a journey. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and hit the bell for notifications. We'll be back in 2 weeks, despite the fact that Jamie is going to university very soon.
In fact, when this comes out, I will be moving in.
There we go.
I've been Jamie.
And I've been Joe.
And we have been Ambitious Films and Where We Review Them on
Ambitious Films and Where to Find Them.